I'm going to bleed the brakes today on this Honda ST1300A, and to do that we'll remove the saddlebags so that we have easy access to the rear caliper and master cylinder. We'll remove the passenger side mirror and the passenger side cowling and the black lower gravel shield, and I'll get that done and then I'll show you the next step. To remove the mirror, you give it a nice firm quick tug. I usually pull it from the front, and it's tie wrapped to the bike to I guess keep it, if it ever got knocked off, it's not going to go flying down the road. So it's like a safety tie. I leave that there. You have to remove the mirror to get to the two screws that are holding the cowling on, so that's a reason for taking the mirror off. Okay, with the cowling removed and the cover over the battery, rear reservoir removed, and the seat, you've got access to the rear master cylinder fluid reservoir, and most importantly the proportioning valve. The only reason for having to take off the right side cowling is to get to the proportioning valve, and trying to find that was a son of a gun for me, but it's right there below the tank, and I have not found an easy way to get to it without removing the cowling. So there you have it, and we'll get started bleeding the brakes. Alright, this is the top bleeder on the passenger side. Step 1 is to do the driver's side first, top bleeder. Step 2 is do the passenger side bleeder, top bleeder. I prefer to apply pressure to the front brake lever and open the bleeder, and we're going to look for any air that comes out. There's a few air bubbles came out. Squeeze the brake lever slowly, close off the bleeder, release the lever slowly, and do it one more time to make sure there's no air coming out. I'm applying the front brake lever, releasing the bleeder. Looks nice and clear. Close the bleeder, release the lever. Always keep an eye on your fluid level in the reservoir. You don't want to let it run out. Once you pull air into the system, you're going to have to do this over and over again, like I'm doing now. That's what happened to me, so don't let that happen. Okay, now for the fun part. We have to remove the driver's side caliper, and we're going to wire it up so that it's going to hang at 15 degrees. And what I do is I run wire down through the opening in front of the radiator, and I run it down to where I'm going to wire it up to one of the pins on the caliper. And we're going to take the caliper and tilt it this way so that the secondary master cylinder is up 15 degrees, so we can get any air out of that. Once we got this wired up, we're going to go over and bleed, vacuum bleed through the proportioning valve. Alright, when you remove the left front brake caliper, I highly recommend putting something in between the brake pads, because you don't want to accidentally hit the rear brake lever or squeeze the front lever and have the pistons apply and push everything out too far. So I'll put a couple of shims in here to take up the space, and I'll take up the space of where the rotor would be, and then I'm going to wire up this brake caliper so we get this hanging at the right angle. I ran some wire down through the around the handlebars, and I'm going to hang it up about like so, and that should be good. Alright, I've got the caliper wired up. I've got 15 inches of vacuum applied to this proportioning valve bleeder. I'm going to open this bleeder slowly. We're going to pull out some fluid. I don't know if you can see that there's some real small air bubbles coming out. And I'm going to repeat this process of opening and closing the bleeder, checking the vacuum, keeping the vacuum high, checking the reservoirs, fluid level, and I'm just going to let this flow until I'm not seeing any more air bubbles come out. So I'll do this over and over again, and pump the secondary master cylinder, move the rear lever around and the front lever around, and just keep doing this until you do not get any air out of there. Alright, once you're convinced that you've got all the air out of this system by opening and closing the bleeder while you pump the secondary master cylinder, I also like to work the rear pedal while I open and close the bleeder while having vacuum on it, and I just do all three steps just to keep bleeding this proportioning valve to make sure that all the air gets out. With the ABS system, it seems that air gets trapped in here, and it's pretty difficult to remove. Your rear reservoir, keep an eye on that and keep filling it up. You're going to go through about at least a quart of brake fluid while you're doing this. Alright, step 4, we're at the center bleeder on the rear caliper, and I'm applying the rear brake pedal. I'm going to open the bleeder, and a few little bubbles come out. I'm going to close the bleeder, pump up the pedal again, hold the pedal down, open the bleeder, still getting a few little air bubbles. I'm going to do this until it's clear. And for step 5, we go back to the front right lower bleeder. Alright, step 5 is the right front lower bleeder. You're going to pump up the rear pedal, hold some pressure down on it, open up this bleeder valve, and hopefully not get any air out. Got little really fine bubbles. I'm going to do this one more time. Holding the rear brake, open the bleeder. Got nice clear fluid flow. Close that bleeder, release the pedal, pump it up, and check the fluid level in your rear reservoir. I'll do this on the other side for step 6 on the lower bleeder. Alright, for step 7, we're at the rear bleeder on the rear caliper, and same procedures before. Little air coming out. Depress the pedal. I'm going to close the bleeder, pump it up, and repeat this until you have no air bubbles. Looks like it's going to be a while.